Coming up next on the Retirement Halftime Show, what to do with an old 401k plan, the options that can have a big impact on your retirement, and understanding Medicare Part D, and what you need to know about government's prescription drug plans to avoid a lifetime penalty. Plus, the Indiana woman who has taken couponing to the next level. Andrea Moorhead reports now on the Retirement Halftime Show.
You wouldn't play a game the second half the same way you would the first, especially if you had the lead. This is the Retirement Halftime Show, helping you maintain your lead in retirement.
Welcome to the Retirement Halftime Show. I'm Heather McWilliams. Joining us is Alexander Joyce with ReJoyce Financial. Alex, I know a common question that I hear a lot is, when should I take my 401k and roll it into a Roth IRA?
Yeah, you know, 401k qualified plan, and so it grows tax deferred. And generally when somebody is contributing to that 401k, the employer along the way is matching. And so it is the best way to save on a tax deferred basis, right? Yeah. It is for savings. Pay yourself first. That is the rule, name of the game. Grow money, right? Mm-hmm. And so the thing is, people are changing jobs more so now than ever.
Yes.
And so the question becomes, when they have this accessibility, and they shouldn't spend it. Although sometimes that's a burning desire.
I know.
That's the hardest part, right? Don't spend it.
I know.
And so they're faced with kind of a fork in the road, right? Yeah. Do I take that 401k? Do I roll it into my new employer-sponsored plan, 401k? Perhaps it's a different custodian. You had Morgan Stanley, now you got Fidelity. And so the HR isn't really guiding you through that.
They're not.
Which is the issue. Yeah. That's why you need an advisor.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Or some type of coach on your side from a financial perspective. We can help. And so then the other option is, well, what do I put that money in if I do roll that from a 401k to a 401k? Mm-hmm. Because there is an option, as you just mentioned, to either take that money, roll it into a Roth on your own, if you will, which is a conversion as opposed to a contribution, right? Need some tax advice, we can help.
Yes.
The other option would be taking that 401k and rolling it into an IRA.
Okay.
Now, 401ks, as most people understand, they're limited to what you can do, right? Kind of like a sushi menu of options, right? Just kind of choose a couple and out the door it goes. That's why most people just use a target date fund. Mm-hmm. The closer you get to that target, the more conservative it gets. It does it for you. Best choice? I would dare say not. I think that working with an advisor can open it up to become, the world is now your oyster. And so I think that understanding risk and your appetite for risk, is it palatable, and being able to actively manage appropriate to the economy makes a lot more sense in the long run.
With a Roth, you just have a whole lot more investment choices. Should you be maxing out your 401k if your employer offers it?
Yeah,
okay.
I think if you can.
Is it a no-brainer? I mean,
if you can, it's a big number, right? And so I think that some people always will find better use for the dollars as opposed to saving it. It is discipline. You must have discipline. Yeah. You understand. Now, one of the things we'll do, especially for a younger individual, middle-aged individuals, we will show them the end game, right? The light at the end of the tunnel. It is very easy for someone to say to somebody in their 20s, if you keep doing this, you'll become a millionaire, right? But it's like, what about tomorrow? Right? I got to punch the clock on Monday. Right? I got to use self-discipline in order to do that. It is easy for individuals to say, well, if you buy some life insurance and you overfund it and it grows with cash value, and at the end of the day, you can borrow from it and you can have millions of dollars. But what does that mean next week? Right. And so I think that having an accountability partner, such as an advisor, having a mediator to show you milestones and actually how to do it, as opposed to being super high level, all right? I think that's what most people need, is like, hey, at the end of the month, what should this look like? Month by month, what should that thing look like? At the end of the year, what is my goal? Yeah. And we can kind of project out, as opposed to giving somebody something so far that seems so unattainable. Yeah,
but I would think if you're going to convert that into an IRA, you need a financial planner.
I think it's wise.
Yeah.
I really do. I mean, just from a if I took my financial planning hat off, if I took my advisor hat off, if I took my tax hat off, it's like, hey, what are my options?
Because there are a lot more options, right?
Yeah, there are. There just simply are. When you look at TD Ameritrade, you look at Fidelity, you look at what's out there, as opposed to the 10 you can choose from. Let's just have a conversation. What's very unique with us is if someone walks in our door, Heather, and has a conversation just based on, hey, there's a fork in the road here, I'm not really sure what to do. Will you just give me some, opinion or some advice? Listen, we have no problem doing that. It is costless. Yeah. Right? We are public servants. That is my duty. That is what we do. And we're on the same page in terms of my team and I. And so that we must do what's prudent.
And there are estate planning advantages too, which is part of what you do also. And I think when I hear estate planning, I think, oh, I've got to have a ton of money to do that.
Yeah,
Not
it
true,
doesn't matter.
right?
Yeah, estate planning has nothing to do with dollars and cents. It has everything to do with what you want your dollars and cents to do for you, without your physical being. And so, carrying that legacy forward and having those conversations about what's important to you and what your goals are, even with if you're here or not here, young children, older children, mature children, grandchildren, family dynamic, all of it matters. We just want to have a goal-based conversation to see what we can do to help.
And that is the beauty of ReJoyce Financial. You would do it all under one roof. As always, great information, Alex. And for more information, stick around. We have a lot more coming up.
Still ahead on the Retirement Halftime Show, we're breaking through the complexities to get to the facts about Medicare Part D and what one woman wants you to know about working with ReJoyce Financial. Her story may sound like yours. This is the Retirement Halftime Show.
Call 317-903-9157 to schedule a no-cost, no-obligation visit to get your retirement game plan in order.
The journey to retirement takes many twists and turns. Don't take that trip alone. Let the team at ReJoyce Financial be your co-pilot. The expert team of financial planners can create a roadmap that gets you to your goals. They'll work with you to create a financial plan that gives you confidence and peace of mind. Start the process today. Call 317-903-9157 or text 707-ReJoyce. Rejoice in your retirement.
You're watching the Retirement Halftime Show, powered by ReJoyce Financial.
And welcome back to the Retirement Halftime Show. I'm Andrea Moorhead, and I am so excited to have this beautiful young lady sitting next to me. When you talk about life coming full circle, this is truly a full circle moment, isn't it,
Yes,
Miss Rhonda
it is.
Nevins Brown?
Very much so.
We met about 7 years ago, and we did a story on you. It relates to working with ReJoyce Financial, and it was a very difficult time of your life. Talk about that a little bit.
It was very hard. My husband passed away unexpectedly, and when something like that happens, and if you find out you don't know anything about anything, all your security that you think's there, you don't know whether it is anymore or anything. But I was lucky enough to meet Alex, and he wrapped his hands around the situation and took care of everything, helped me go through the process of finding security again.
How old were you at the time?
Probably 56.
So technically you weren't quite ready for retirement, technically, but the death of your husband kind of moved things up a little quicker, if you will.
Right. It was, I wasn't working at the time, but it was like put the monies together, see what I had and what I could do or what I needed to do.
Now, you've been with ReJoyce Financial for the past 7 years. How have things been going so far for you?
Oh, wonderfully. I've always felt secure and safe, and always that Alex has got my back. He'll say, I've got your back, and when he says that, I know he's got my back.
When your husband unfortunately passed away and you came to ReJoyce, a lot of information that you probably were not privy to, didn't understand. Talk about some of those things that you learned that you were not aware of before.
Just being in the moment is, for one thing, that if one person, like my husband, took care of all the financial things. So all of that information nowadays in the computer era was at work on his computer. So the only papers I had to look at were like 7 or 8 years prior to that. So immediately you had to start using a call center to try to track down any and all of your information.
And I'm sure you needed passwords, and you're thinking, I don't have that information.
Yeah, I didn't have passwords. It's a hard learning experience.
Did you learn anything new with the passing of your parents recently that you didn't know before that ReJoyce helped you to get through as well? Because I'm sure that was a little different probably than during the time when your husband passed away, correct?
Right, like I was dealing with their personal financial advisor. And some of the information I couldn't get, and they weren't necessarily helping me get that. And so I talked to Alex, and again, we got on the phone together, and he found some information out for me that I needed to know.
So when we met again 7 years ago, you had a daughter. You still have a daughter named Michaela, just
Yes.
beautiful. She was late teens, and she's now 25 years old. How's she doing?
She's doing fabulous.
What's going on with her in her life?
She works now at Lockheed Martin in California. She has wings.
You helped her get you
I
gave her
helped
those
give
wings.
her wings.
That's
I didn't know
right.
she was going to fly that far away, but
You're like, don't go to California.
yeah.
But she's doing well.
She's doing really well. And like she started her 401k right off the bat. She actually did that when she had jobs in college.
Yeah.
So, but she's doing really well. She's very happy and working hard, and
That's
she just
great.
has a very happy life now.
I was about to ask you, so because you've gone through the process several times, how has that worked for you in making sure that she has everything that she needs, documents, information, connected to ReJoyce as well?
Well, for one thing, she knows that if anything happens to me, she absolutely knows to call Alex. And that was from day one. Because with what happened with my husband, you didn't know, well, I could not be here 5 minutes from now. So your immediate thing is just to immediately make sure that she's taken care of. And Alex knew that and knows that. And so Michaela from the get-go knew, call Alex and he'll be there for you. He'll have your back.
Have your back. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it really sounds like the firm of compassion, a firm that is family.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yes. I consider Alex my family, very much so.
I love it.
And that was, I could feel that from him, honestly, from the first time I met him.
So genuine, so
well, I
real.
mean-
We all love Alex. So
yeah,
real.
I'll just, he came in the door and it was like, okay, I can feel that.
Absolutely. You can feel authenticity.
I can.
Yeah. We can feel when it's the real deal. Is that what life is for you now during retirement? It really is about harnessing the moment and living every day, not as if it's your last, but just living every moment and living it like trying to have a better than best life. Everyone says, I'm living my best life. No, let's have a better than best life.
Yeah, we appreciate what you have.
Yeah.
And like I said, the security that you have makes you feel okay. You can, it is just being happy for sunshine, thankful for friends, and it doesn't have to be anything extravagant.
No, it's the simple pleasures.
Yeah, for me it is.
I say that. It's about the simple pleasures of life, having calm and being peaceful and having joy and just loving every single moment of living. What's your best advice that you would give to potential clients in terms of preparing themselves for retirement? Any advice that you have that you want to sprinkle, some little gems you want to leave?
I would just say come to ReJoyce Financial as fast as you can and get the security that that you want and that you need, and once you know that you have that, then you can relax and have your fun in retirement.
I love it.
Because you have that good feeling inside.
Security.
Yeah, and it gives you strength to move forward with your life.
I love it.
Still to come, avoiding a lifetime penalty on your Medicare Part D coverage, how one decision could impact your premiums for decades, and meet an Indiana woman making life better for many in our community. Andrea Moorhead reports on how a couponing habit morphed into a movement.
Don't let anxiety ruin your retirement. Get a second opinion about your current plan. Call the experts at ReJoyce Financial today at 317-903-9157 and see if you're on the right track.
Hoping to have enough income to last through retirement isn't a strategy, it's a recipe for failure. Everyone needs a tangible plan. ReJoyce Financial can help you get on the right path. Come in for a visit and let's discuss what's going on with your financial well-being. We're an inclusive team that won't offer judgment, only ideas on how to make your money work for you. Give us a call at 317-903-9157. Let us help you rejoice in retirement.
You're watching the Retirement Halftime Show, powered by ReJoyce Financial.
You're watching the Retirement Halftime Show. I'm your host, Alexander Joyce, and with me today is Angie Paisley. She is our Medicare Director and the manager of our processing team here at ReJoyce Financial. And we are talking on the topic of Medicare. You know, we talked about Plan A. Is it Plan A, right? Coverage A, B. C, we discussed as being the advantage plan, if you will. And we want to dive into Part D, right? Isn't that confusing? I mean, I am not a Medicare person, right? I love the numbers. And so that is exactly why you are here, so you can walk us through all the numbers, right? And so maybe start by just some context, if you will, a little bit of background, not history, if you will, but what exactly is Part D?
Part D is a very important part of Medicare. That is your prescription drug coverage. That's the one when you hear about credible coverage and lifetime penalties, Part D is what they're talking about. So you can go one of two ways with Medicare. You get your A and B, which is your original Medicare, or you get your Part C, which is your Medicare Advantage. Typically, if you have Medicare Advantage, that D is included. It doesn't have to be, but it typically is.
And when we say D, we are specifically talking about the drug subscription.
That is correct.
Your prescription drug plan attached to your
so
Medicare.
We've talked about before how A and B, original Medicare, don't cover everything, and that there's gaps out there. Part D is not specifically considered a Medigap policy because you've got to have it. You have to have prescription drug coverage. So what you're going to be required to have is your A, your B, and at a minimum, your D. Often there can be no monthly cost for that. Sometimes there is a monthly cost, but you've got a higher deductible. That's just something we'll look at an individual quote for you, what's best. But if you don't have Part D coverage, you can get lifetime penalties for that.
Lifetime.
So, lifetime. And that's for the months that you did not have coverage, but those penalties will last the rest of your life.
Wow.
So just a real quick story. I had a client come in recently. She was in her 70s and had already been on Medicare. She had dropped her prescription drug coverage because she found out that GoodRx, her GoodRx card that you can get free at Walgreens, covered her specific drug better. She said, I'm not going to pay for this. I don't need it. Well, she got, just last year, got prescribed something else that GoodRx didn't cover so well. Came in to see me for the first review in 3 or 4 years. And we talked about it, and I got her signed up for a D because it covered her prescription really well.
Sure.
Well, when she got her first bill, it wasn't what I quoted her. And we were able to find out it was because she had a lifetime penalty for those 3 years that she didn't have coverage. So that was her fee times 36 every month.
And it's scary. You know, I think that a lot of the stuff we don't think about Medicare planning as a part of the financial plan, but in fact it is, right? I mean, a lot of this stuff like Social Security, when you take Social Security at 62, right, you give up 25% for how long? Forever, right? And we talk about giving up a prescription plan like Part D attached to your supplement, and if you vary away, if you will, come back to it, you're penalized for forever, you know, and it's difficult stuff, you know, and the average person, Angie, probably doesn't know this information.
And I think what the scary part is the misinformation.
Right.
Medicare or Social Security. My dad just recently enrolled. His mailing address is my house. Every day, stacks like this. Some of them appear to be legit Medicare mailings, but a lot of them aren't. And they just put that logo on there, so you really don't know. The TVs, the football stars. And if you don't have someone that you can call and ask, you may just believe what you see on the TV, and then you get yourself in a situation that you're penalized for the rest of your life. So it's really important to talk to someone who's licensed, who knows what they're doing, and who is independent.
You know, Google is a resource.
It is.
Right? It isn't a recommendation.
Correct.
It doesn't know you.
Correct.
Right? We think it may, right? It may serve you certain things, but it doesn't know your situation. It gives a list as a reference in things that you can reference. It doesn't give you advice.
That's right.
And so we really, the strength is with us, is you got to talk to a real person.
That's right.
You're going to have to talk to us.
It's very important.
I mean, it is critical to understand what you're trying to do, what you're trying to achieve, and then dial in the whole plan to put it together. Avoid these penalties, avoid these fees, avoid these taxes, avoid all that stuff.
Right.
Just take the leap of faith and call us. Yeah. Right? So I appreciate your time, Angie. It's been a pleasure. Stay tuned, folks. There's more show to come.
Coming up next, a so-called diva saw a need in our community and started taking action. Her work has started a movement and she needs your help. This is the Retirement Halftime Show.
Don't retire with just enough to get by. Rejoice in your retirement with ReJoyce Financial.
Our friend is back. Her compassion, her connection to the community, that smile.
I'm all about a pivot.
ReJoyce Financial is proud to welcome Andrea Moorhead as our community impact anchor, with stories seen on the Retirement Halftime Show.
What would you say to someone who's contemplating becoming a volunteer? How would you encourage them?
Follow Andrea and make ReJoyce Financial a part of your family too.
You're watching the Retirement Halftime Show, powered by ReJoyce Financial.
ReJoyce Financial gives back with Andrea Moorhead, highlighting the people and organizations making life better in our community.
Welcome back. You're watching the Retirement Halftime Show. Host Alexander Joyce, with me, Andrea Moorhead, our community impact anchor. And we are talking about the latest story, I should say, about Indie Hygiene Hub.
Yeah.
Awesome story. Tell us about it.
You know, it's a wonderful story. A young woman by the name of Christine who went through a divorce years ago. And during that time, she needed access to hygiene. And she didn't have a lot of money. And she realized there's a need. If this is happening to me, I want to be able to give back as well. Absolutely. So take a look at this. This is Christine with the Indie Hygiene Hub. And trust me, you're going to definitely want to volunteer and give back after watching this story.
We just picked up a $3,000 order. That's why I have so much deodorant at the moment.
After a divorce 10 years ago, Christina found herself using food pantries to help support herself and her children.
I place it all online. They tell me when it's ready. We go in and pick it all up.
Oh, I love that.
But she couldn't pick up hygiene items because most pantries didn't carry them, and they can't be purchased with government-assisted funds. So she turned to couponing to defray the cost. And for me, I like to coupon because I like to feel as if I've beat the system, you know, and I've gotten something, you know, for a cheaper price.
Right.
So you loved couponing.
Yeah. I love to, when I can go and see the total is like $100, but then after the sales and my coupons, I pay like 2 cents. So then it was like a rush.
With a living room full of unused hygiene items, she decided to pay it forward.
And then I just started posting on pay it forward sites, like, if you need help with these items, I have them. So then I would go meet him at the church or go meet him at a gas station and give him a bag of hygiene items.
This experience inspired her to create the nonprofit Dotted Line Divas to provide hygiene items for families in need.
I remember starting with Orchard Park Elementary, like the caseworker would call me because kids were getting picked on because their breath smelled because they couldn't brush their teeth, or they had BO and needed deodorant. So then I started providing bags to those kids.
There's now a new name, Indie Hygiene Hub, but the mission remains the same.
Really like to let people have dignity in what they're doing, you know, it's not a handout. It's just a hand up.
Jerry Imler is the board secretary. She's been connected to the nonprofit since her 2 daughters began volunteering 4 years ago.
When they would come here and see that people needed such basic items as a toothbrush, I think it really started to impact the way that they were viewing the world around them. And then it also set them up to be able to see I can take very small steps and make a huge impact.
Over 300 families are served every month.
But every family gets a bag of the men's, women's deodorant, toothpaste, toothbrush, shampoo, body soap, toilet paper.
And they also receive laundry pods.
I can give at least enough to do 10 or 15 loads a month.
One of the most requested items
We are partnered with Indiana Diaper Bank.
is bundled with care.
For instance, this pack of diapers typically would go for like $10 in the store. We can get it from them for like $3.
Your donations will also help pay for backpacks and school supplies for the annual Back to School Bash.
Last year we ran out of backpacks at 850 kids. So this year it's going to go bigger, but in order to put events on like that, we need funding.
And more volunteers.
You are hands-on. You are out with the families, you are giving them items, but you're also having a communication with them. You're learning and growing as a person.
Other services will be made available to anyone who needs help. No questions asked.
We have a vendor that gives out free cell phones for anybody on Medicaid or food stamps.
Do you see your role perhaps continuing to expand, that maybe we might see you in Washington, D.C. saying, this has to stop?
I talk to supporters and donors all the time, and they're like, wait a minute, food stamps doesn't pay for toilet paper? I'm like, no.
While changing legislation may take a while, Indie Hygiene Hub stays committed to filling in the gaps, which are growing. So let's be specific, because I believe that if you ask and tell people exactly what you need and what you want, you will receive.
It would be nice to come up with $100,000 by the end of the year.
We're going to do it.
That will help us with our back to school bash, our Christmas program, and getting us into a space by the end of the year.
They're praying to move from Mercy Road Church Northwest to a bigger warehouse, and their 5-year goal, to have a community center that offers a variety of comprehensive services to set families up for success.
They can come get clothes, they can get help with writing resumes, there's a laundry area where they can wash clothes.
Think it's going to happen?
It is. I'm determined. Before I die, it will happen.
We thank Christine and the rest of the crew for sharing this incredible story. And if you want to participate, whether be a volunteer, they have so many different events going on throughout the year, or just give some money, because they can always use your financial help. You can learn more about that information on our website at rejoycefinancial.com/Andrea.
Absolutely, Andrew, and I think it changes lives. I mean, stories like that just change lives, what someone's been through, and then just able to give back to our community, learning that story. So we really appreciate you bringing that to life. So stay tuned, folks. You're watching the Retirement Halftime Show. There's more show to come.
Hoping to have enough income to last through retirement isn't a strategy, it's a recipe for failure. Everyone needs a tangible plan. ReJoyce Financial can help you get on the right path. Come in for a visit and let's discuss what's going on with your financial well-being. We're an inclusive team that won't offer judgment, only ideas on how to make your money work for you. Give us a call at 317-903-9157. Let us help you rejoice in retirement.
Rejoice in your retirement with ReJoyce Financial. Now, let's say your doctor told you need a major surgery. Well, it might be a good idea to get a second opinion. If a mechanic told you your car needs an expensive repair, you might get a second opinion. Well, is your retirement performing like you think it should? Hey, if not, why not get a second opinion on that? I mean, after all, your retirement is important. Tell you what you do. Call Alexander Joyce at ReJoyce Financial. Now, Alex's number is 317-903-9157. Look, Alex will always make sure your retirement is performing to meet your needs, and it costs absolutely nothing to get that second opinion. Alex and his staff, first thing they'll do, they'll get to know you and your needs. Don't retire with just enough to get by. Rejoice in your retirement with ReJoyce Financial.
You're watching the Retirement Halftime Show, powered by ReJoyce Financial.
Thank you for watching the Retirement Halftime Show. If you have questions about today's show, give us a call, send us a text, or go to our website. Most importantly, maintain your lead in retirement. I'm Alexander Joyce, and I'll see you next time.